Yeah, one last little subject we wanted to talk about was when she did a documentary based on the life and times of J. Krishnamurti. Now, you know, he was a very influential man in Madras, having things like the Theosophical Society, you know, that under his control. I don't know what it was. But they ran schools and they were hugely influential everywhere, in colleges, in schools, in business meetings, in clubs. There are all these followers of Krishnamurti around the place. So she did actually a documentary on him. So let's find out what she found out, any new insights on Krishnamurti. Did you come across something other than what is portrayed about him?
Well, the documentary wasn't about him per se, but rather his philosophy through dance, expressed through dance. So yes, it was an interesting experience because it's not obtuse philosophy. It's very much what you need to practice in day-to-day life.
Okay.
But at the same time, the way he brings it across, he doesn't want you to just take it as a theory and then follow it blindly, but really see how this fits into your real life on an experiential level. Are you experiencing this for yourself? You're experiencing love, you're experiencing anger, hate. These are experiences every human being goes through. So he just didn't believe in armchair philosophy. Speculation.
So how did you do it through dance? Where was the dance angle?
We had it with classical dance. We had 5 different dance forms. We had Odissi, Bharatanatyam, Kathak, and Kuchipudi and Mohiniyattam. Because they have been doing, especially these dance forms have been doing all these Indian philosophies for centuries now. That was one way of expressing it.
Yes.
So we felt that was the best way to bring out this philosophy, but to a contemporary audience.
Art form.
It's an art
rather
form.
Rather than discussions and talks.
Yeah, and it is something which appeals to you. When you see something on stage, then you connect with it on a emotional level sometimes, rather than just an intellectual thing.
Yeah.
So
how long did the whole exercise take?
It took us about close to 6 months. Because there were a lot of international dancers involved, and dancers are very, very not difficult, but
say the word.
Yeah,
dancers are difficult. Yes.
Well, they were different individuals. They were like masters in their own craft.
Yes.
And what the great part was that we gave them the text, and they interpreted them, themselves.
So each art form conveyed some part of your message, or whatever his message was.
We had broken down into different themes, and they interpreted it themselves. We didn't want to interfere.
And where was it shown after you completed it?
We had shown it. We are trying to show it on screen in terms of the cinemas, but that's where the non-commercial cinema never gets a platform comes in.
We used to have the films division of India many decades ago. It's almost you'd be a relic if you even talk about it, like a fossil when you say what are you talking about. But they used to insist that things like this were shown and screened in theaters. What stops them from doing that now?
With theatre, people know that whenever a films division film documentary is shown, people just walk out.
And that's because they're boring, let's face it. If it's good, why would they walk out?
Yeah, but then it is not produced by films division, it has an independent producer.
Yes.
So he has to find some kind of distribution network, he has to find another distributor buying the film, that's how it works.
Well, these are not funded by the government?
These are not funded by the government, it was an individual producer. And if the government is involved, then again they dictate terms, then it becomes no longer a Krishnamurti film in the true sense. Because we wanted the interpretation to be left to the dancer, the artists. Completely. Because if we impose, then it goes completely against the grain of
you can't convince any theatre owner to show these things now. If you were to walk up to somebody like Abhirami or one of these malls where they have 20 screens.
We have had private screenings so far, and no, I don't think they would.
But the reach is so small in private screenings,
Yeah.
So how do you get it across to bigger audiences?
Maybe we'll try festivals, and we have live performances of this show.
How about between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody's almost asleep, but yet they will stay awake to see something interesting like this? Because
you mean on television?
Television,
yeah. Even again on television, it's a 1.5 hour film. So how do you break it up? You'll have 27 minutes, and then the next episode 27.
Oh, you can do an edit for them, can't you?
No, I think it would take away the essence of the film. Films are not just put together and just arbitrarily. There is a flow. That's one of the reasons why we in India have pretty bad films. I mean, like quote
How
unquote.
how is it overseas? I'm sure the same resistance
Because
is
you
there.
don't have an interval, between the films. It really takes away. Now, when a filmmaker makes a film, he has to think of pre-interval and post-interval. So there
Yes.
is no continuum, there's no flow, and people, you immediately see an Indian film, the first half is either very good.
And in fact, they describe it like that. First half was excellent.
Excellent.
Second half was boring.
Yes. Why does that happen? Because you have this mandatory interval. You have to have it. You have to sell your popcorns, which is ridiculous. When you go to a film festival, for instance, we never have any breaks. We just see the film in its entirety. That's how it's meant to be.
Okay.
That's why a film was only 1.5 hours long, and you saw it in one go, and then you left. And
Okay. So you think there's no hope for showing documentaries, really speaking?
I wouldn't say there is no hope. There are a lot of festivals. There is the internet, which is showing interest. There are forums.
Maybe that's the route to
That's the
take.
way forward. That's the way forward. And but people need to be sensitized. And the problem, even with documentaries, you need to have a name. Has it won an award? Has it won this? Had this, that kind of thing.
So you need somebody to take it up and glamorize what seems like a non-glamorous
which
field.
many documentary filmmakers have, and especially the alternative circuit has a problem about. We don't want to do that. Even film festivals, for instance, are becoming more and more commercial. I remember
Okay.
this IIT earlier, when it was not Mardi Gras, when it was Mardi Gras.
Yes.
Now it's Sarang. In those days, you had a lot of classical music, you had a lot of alternative stuff.
Now it's rock bands.
Now it's so much of ads, it's not even funny. I can't believe this is a college fest. These kids are only running to get sponsors. I mean, it's like money. That's so ingrained right from the beginning. So how do you expect any art to happen?
So it looks like you have a seriously tough battle up ahead of you to show all the interesting stuff that you're making and other filmmakers. But I can only wish you the best of luck and thanks for coming, and let's
Thanks.
talk about this some other time again.
Thanks.